皆さんこんにちは。ネバネバチャンネルのテッシです。
ネバネバチャンネルのララです。
今日はですね、トピックは面白いと思うんですけれども、日本の生理休暇についてお話をしていきますというか、人々にインタビューしていくんですけれども、イギリス人のララさんにちょっと手伝ってもらって、いろんな人々にさまざまな質問をしていきたいと思います。
はい、では協力させていただきます。
はい、では皆さん早速ですが行きましょう。で、イギリスではですね、まだ2メートルの距離を守らないといけないという決まりがありますので、私たちももちろんインタビューの時にちゃんとマスクをして、距離を守りながらインタビューしていきたいと思います。今日はロンドンのハイド公園というところ、ロンドンにいるんですが、ここから撮影させていただきます。
はい、では行きましょう。
Can I ask your name?
Yeah, my
and
name's
what you do?
Elaine Joseph, and I'm an audio describer for ITB.
I'm Lakshmi, and I'm a first year university student.
I'm Anna, I'm the same freshman.
So what are you both of your names and what do you do?
My name is Zaina, and I'm a student in a school in New York, but I'm doing my studies in London at the moment.
And I'm Maria, I'm also a student. I study law at the University of Warwick.
I'm Naf, I'm a student at university at the moment.
I'm Asia and I study law at University of London.
Hi, I'm Saskia.
What do you do?
Summer, Altun. I'm a student.
I'm Heather.
I'm Gretchen.
I'm Anna and I'm studying to be a lawyer at the moment.
Hi, I'm Lottie and I'm a civil servant.
Hi, I'm Will. I'm a consultant.
You know, like there's this law that exists in Japan. If you're in your period, you can take paid leave or unpaid leave. It's up to the company. And there's no law like this in Europe at all. So we're wondering your thoughts on it.
I guess it's fair. It's like pregnancy, like a maternity leave.
But it does happen like every month, so it's quite often that you can take
And maybe
off.
companies won't like hire women as much because they're losing out on work.
And I think some women might try and take advantage of it. Everyone's already annoyed at the pay gap and stuff like
exactly.
that. Then this would just give the men more things to like be angry about.
And so it's like if you think this is a good thing or a bad thing, or like if you think we should have it here.
I think it would be a good idea. I think it was a proven fact that when women get their periods and the cramps, it's like it's the same pain of having a heart attack.
Yeah, I just feel like it should be paid, basically. There's still so much of a stigma about having your period, and just like personally, I used to work in an office where it was like a really small office of 6 women, and when we were on our periods and we had like a nice locker that we could use that had like, I don't know, like hot water bottles and like sanitary towels and stuff like that. Just felt nicer, and I get really bad periods definitely. If I had an option to have paid leave, then that would be great, but it sounds like a really cool law. It surprises me that no other European country has it.
It's difficult because I think it just affects people in different ways.
Yeah, so. And I guess you do want to feel like it isn't a sickness.
It's a normal thing, isn't it? But we don't really talk about it enough.
I personally think it's a very good thing because I've had days where I am completely incapacitated, like I can't walk, I can't leave my bed when I'm on my period, and I've had to miss class, and it's not really seen as like a valid excuse. I get really affected by it, so personally I think the law is a great thing.
I do think you should be able to get those days off, but I also think it could potentially negatively impact the employment of women. Then that could potentially be a financial burden for companies, and it might be a negative way for them to discriminate against women, and it could be a way for someone not to employ a woman. But I do think in theory it should happen because, again, like Zaina said, it obviously does impact women.
I feel that's kind of intense. Like there's no way that we could do that here in London, and that's like really intense. I think back in Japan, I think that's quite good. Yeah, I mean if it's really painful, I guess you can take medication, but I kind of feel like other people have like pain elsewhere, like, and then they wouldn't get leave.
Not everyone has predictable periods. Lots of people have like dysmenorrhea of sorts, which is just like painful periods caused by like a whole host of like medical issues. So having that opportunity to take some days off, but like not have it come out of your sick leave or like your childcare days, your holiday, like that would be really important. for so many people and could really make a really big difference, I feel like.
First of all, we have to distinguish between situations in which a paid leave is left and situations in which the leave is unpaid. This makes a huge difference because I think that we can discuss the desirability of a paid menstrual leave, but on the other hand, an unpaid menstrual leave is not that much desirable.
I think definitely a good thing. Some people have at that time of the month, extremely debilitating experience every single month. So even just having one day off at its worst would be helpful.
Do you think so as well?
Although I see like there are good intentions behind this law, it could end up being quite discriminatory, and I think maybe a better way to like get the same kind of policy impacts would just be to have a more generous like sick pay thing in general, rather than to specify this specific kind of type of like sickness. Some people have like mental illness that I'm sure isn't like fully recognized, and like you're not able to take sick pay, so like just a more understanding, more holistic approach to workplace sickness is how I would do it. Like, as I've been saying this answer, I've been very conscious that I keep saying women instead of people who menstruate, and I feel like this is like a transphobic thing that I do, and I think many people do it, and I feel like this kind of law would reinforce that thinking, because if you are a trans person and maybe it's uncomfortable for you to be like, oh, I'm menstruating, it's not really, it just reinforces kind of maybe cisgender thinking.
I think in some ways it's really good, because it's nice that employers therefore like have to be more sort of sympathetic to people feeling ill, but I'd be concerned that, you know, some like men might take it as a sign that women were weak.
What about you, Will?
So in the world where it's paid, that suddenly poses problems from an employment perspective, where firms would be less willing to hire women because of it, especially if it was paid leave. Naturally, I'm sure menstruation affects people differently, and I'm sure in some cases it's much more needing to take a day off, for example, if not, say, half a day or a quarter of a day. And so if it was more flexible like that, for example, I think that could be really good. The recognition that women in the workplace have different needs than men is really important in general. So overall, I'm in favour of the consideration.
Well, actually, anyone that's menstruating, but
yeah.
I feel like for me, I wouldn't want to work at a company where I didn't feel comfortable asking for days off because of my period. Like, I feel like it's even given the stigma around it, like the stigma really shouldn't be there. And I know it can really significantly impact your like prospects in terms of like promotion and stuff. So like you should just really like, you would feel kind of contained if you had the situation in which you couldn't ask for time off because of your period.
I think I would, because we shouldn't feel ashamed of having our period since it's a natural thing. They would be the one who would feel uncomfortable, but they should get used to it.
I think it really depends on the boss. If it was a law, then it would be easier, I think.
I think if other women around me were doing it, I'd feel comfortable doing it, but it does raise an interesting point in that I wouldn't want the entire office knowing that I'm on my period and like at a specific time.
And I think as well, like if you do make it known, you also get those jokes where it's like, oh, you're being like this because
like,
you're on your period.
You might get sexual harassment as well.
Exactly. And if my boss was the type of person that's like understanding and that you could actually speak to and he would keep it private, then I would. But if he was someone that was not like that, then maybe I'd have a bit of more concern in saying it, I think.
I kind of feel bad for the men. Yeah, I feel bad for the men because they don't get periods and don't have a holiday.
Right, I see.
I feel like it wouldn't really be fair.
I'm not really that embarrassed to talk about my period, but I think I would feel embarrassed to do that in a workplace setting, because I feel like it would mean people would see me as less reliable, and I wouldn't want that to impact my career anyway. And even if I would be scared of like the implicit bias people would have against me.
It should be, it's your choice. So like, if you can work and you want to work, you should work. You shouldn't have to take it off.
Yeah, I guess maybe it should be an option.
Yeah,
but
maybe
there are like a lot of factors that go into it.
Even like some more like feminist people were like, oh, this is a bad law because it presents the idea of like women as sick or like something like that, and then even potentially people want to hire less women.
I just feel, I don't know, I feel like corporations, businesses will find any reason to hire less women and to pay people less, so I don't know.
But it turns out that like about 90% of people that like could take it don't. Do you think that that would be an issue in the UK as well if there was a law like that in place?
Lots of people would choose not to take it because they wouldn't want like people around them to think they were like skiving or just like choosing not to work. When say now with the pandemic, if some businesses were struggling to survive and things like that, there'd be extra pressure on people not to take sick leave, especially if it was paid. To be fair, now there might be pressure to take it if it was unpaid, because some companies are trying to put people on furlough and things like that.
I mean, I think I totally see why they wouldn't take it, because I feel like it's just not really needed.
Okay.
Maybe I kind of feel a bit like the other ones who do take it are being a bit lazy, because I feel like they can just take medication for it.
Yeah, I guess it would definitely be caused by like stigma and shame around like periods in the first place. Not being able to like express like, oh actually yeah, I am in quite a lot of pain and I don't want to take, and also like the idea that somebody experiences pain because of their period is really like stigmatized, and like increasingly I know young women who use birth control to regulate their periods in particular ways, who use birth control methods that like stop them from having periods. And I have 3 older siblings, so they've all worked in different places, mostly within like the education sector, but like in my sister's current office it's mostly women, so that's fine. Like nobody ever like she can very easily be like, I'm coming in late. And also they have like very different, they're much more flexible in terms of remote working, so she could just work remotely if she needs to, and that doesn't count as sick time. But then also when she worked in a school environment with like lots of male teachers, that for her was like, yeah, I need to get my period under control, like I need to be on birth control, I need to like count the days, I need to not take particular shifts, because it was just like, otherwise it was just too much stress. You know, obviously like people have had periods basically since people were people, because otherwise like people wouldn't be born. People have adapted themselves and are trying more to change themselves. And also there is that feeling of like, if I can change something, surely it should be me, and like I don't want to lobby for like to change, like, you know, to have higher level structural change, because like it's just a me problem. And lots of like people do feel very alone in having their periods, I feel.
Yeah. I guess it depends on your kind of job as well, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it depends on your job. If you had a really manual job, then it might be a bit easier but it shouldn't be that there should be so many different stigmas and attitudes towards something like this one. It's something that every single person has to go through.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. For that reason it would be easier to have a female boss.
Then we also have to ask ourselves what the consequences of a paid leave of this kind are going to be, and also is it fair and just, is it legally fair and just to give this concession to a share of people. If we want to implement such a law, maybe we have first to ask ourselves some questions. So why is it necessary? So are many people facing this problem, or is it just a little share of society who would benefit from this kind of law? And there is also a possible problem of self-conditioning. People who menstruate are going to begin to see their period as a kind of illness, and self-condition themselves into believing that they are not able to work or are not able to do their usual stuff and routine while they are on period.
One of the big reasons that people don't take it, like among many, is that if you were seen to like take it every month, then it would be almost an indicator of when your period was and that you do have a period. But then if you then stop taking it for maybe a few months, then the boss may assume that you're pregnant and then sack you.
Oh.
Jesus.
Yeah, I can see why, yeah. So I can see exactly how that works. yeah, that wouldn't be a good thing. And it's also a bit intrusive that if you were taking it at the same time every month, like everyone knows then when you're on your period. And
I suppose it's a cultural thing, right? Because I can imagine in a lot of instances, I mean, for example, it's something that I would be comfortable knowing, and I'd like to think that it doesn't necessarily have to be a problem, but I understand why it can be like something that makes people feel awkward, right?
Yeah. Also, you have
especially among your boss.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you had like an irregular cycle as well, I want to enter into like small talk about why I was taking leave every 5 weeks or every 3 weeks.
But not this month.
Yeah, it's always like
actually now I'm on contraception, so I don't. Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd want that to become like coffee, read and chat. I wouldn't want people to think I was just like taking it as an excuse and being like, I'm gonna go camping for a week.
They also had some like other weird things that they did in Japan to try and like make it okay to have periods, where people that worked in department stores, they were if they were on their period, they were asked to wear a bag.
Yeah, so the customers would know, but
the fact of making it more prevalent and more obvious makes it more of the thing that it needs to be.
Yeah.
If anything, it should be subdued more and made more like,
just not like,
this is a thing.